The first thing you need to do to get more followers on TikTok right now in 2024 is implement the 70-30 rule. In fact, this creator right here literally just implemented the 70-30 rule. He's able to gain over 50,000 followers in just a 30-day period. And if you don't know what it is, the 70-30 rule states that 70% of your content should be video and 30% of your content should actually be carousels that are created using photos on TikTok. And the reason for this is because it's going to allow you to do two things. One, it's going to allow you to put out more content because it's way easier to be able to create a carousel post than a photo post because you don't actually have to take the time to edit it or do anything like that. You're really just taking a collection of photos, adding text over them so that you can have a hook and a call to action and some type of story throughout them. And the second reason that you want to do this is it's going to force TikTok to show your content to more people because people get shown content based off of the content that they interact with. So you might scroll TikTok right now and not see any carousel posts, but guess what? I bet there are a ton of creators within your niche that are creating carousel posts because there's an audience that is attracted to those. And if you ignore either videos or you ignore carousel posts, it's going to destroy the amount of followers that you get right now. In addition to that, carousel posts, since they're so simple to create, allow you to test different hooks and different topics. So you can actually test something as opposed to going and creating a video. You can literally just create a carousel post, and this is going to allow you to see if that hook worked or if that topic worked. And if it did, then you can go ahead and create a video. Because the old way of doing things, you would have just created that video and spent a bunch of time, some of you hours or days, creating that piece of content just to find out that it wasn't going to do well. But that's not the only thing you need to change. You also need to change the sounds and the music that you're currently using on TikTok because Universal Music Group and TikTok just got into a huge argument, and guess what? They're taking all of their artists' music off of TikTok, and if you don't do the right thing with that right now, it's going to lead to a decrease in views, or it could potentially hurt your account for the long term. On top of that, you need to change the length of content you're creating, and one other thing I'm going to share with you towards the end of this video, but for right now, I need to make sure you understand something. More than 50% of people under the age of 35 are currently coming to TikTok to do searches for things, to find things within your niche. And guess what? If you're not one of those videos that are showing up, then you're missing out on getting more views and more followers 24/7 because people are searching for things all day long, all the time. And if you're not ranking for search within your niche, you're missing a huge opportunity. And this could be a huge mistake right now because you only need 10,000 followers on TikTok to be able to get monetized. And guess what? TikTok is leaning more and more into monetizing creators that have over 10,000 followers. So we need to get you there as quickly as humanly possible. And the way you're going to do that is by ranking for search. And there are two things that really matter right now when it comes to ranking for search. The first one is going to be the actual metadata of your post. And there are four main things that they're looking at. One, they're looking at the description of your post. Two, they're looking at your hashtags. Three, they're looking at the text that you're putting on the screen. And then finally, the voiceover that you're adding. If you haven't seen yet, obviously, you can add text to speech, or you can just add subtitles to your TikTok videos. And you want to know how they're able to do that because they're taking the information that you're putting there, using that as metadata to be able to determine who they should be showing your content to. In addition to that, the other thing that matters is whether or not you're actually solving what that person is searching for. This could be somebody searching for a video about Taylor Swift's latest album or how to unclog a toilet. Either way, you need to actually solve the viewer's issue, and the way that TikTok determines whether or not you're doing that is going to be based off of the engagement that your post gets and the watch time that your post gets. So it's that simple. If you're able to do those two things, you're going to rank for search, you're going to get more followers and more views 24/7. The only issue now is that TikTok doesn't tell you in your analytics whether or not you actually rank for search, and that's why we need to thank today's video sponsor, Metricool. Because Metricool allows you to filter your analytics to see where your views are coming from, and it shows you whether or not your views are coming from search. And if you want to grow faster on TikTok right now, I strongly suggest that you go to the pinned comment below, sign up for any of their premium plans, and you're going to get 30 days free access with code ROBERT. Because on top of telling you whether or not you're ranking for search, they also have a text generator assistant which allows you to use AI to write the perfect description for your post, which will help make it easy for TikTok to know who to push your content to. And their hashtag tool is literally going to tell you exactly what hashtags you should be using, and it ranks them based off of the size of the hashtags for whatever search you give it. So essentially, it's going to tell you exactly which hashtags are popular within your niche or for the topic that you're posting about so that you can choose them, and this will help you get more views and get more followers. So what are you waiting for? Go to that pinned comment below and use code ROBERT to sign up for 30 days free access to any of their premium plans. At this point, there are only two other things that you're doing right now that are slowing your growth on TikTok, and I need to make sure that you're changing these two things, because if you're not, it's going to lead to a decreased amount of views that you're getting during the easiest time ever to grow on TikTok. The first one is you need to make sure that you're posting enough, but more importantly, you're not posting too much. So if you have a post that's doing really well and it's going viral for you, notice I said viral for you because it's going to be determined based off of your recent posts. So if your typical post gets 300 views, but then you do a post that gets 10,000 views in the first few hours, well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take 24 hours off of posting. So if you had posted that video at 10 a.m. on February 3rd, I want you to take off from posting the rest of the day on the 3rd, the rest of the day on the 4th, and then post again at 10 a.m. on February 5th. And remember, that follow-up post that you do shouldn't be whatever post you had planned for that day. Instead, you should change it to be a follow-up to that video that did well and went viral. Ideally, it should be on the same topic, it should be a follow-up to that, or you should be responding to one of the comments that you got with a video, and ideally you want that to be a spicy comment, one that people are actually going to interact with and acts as a hook, because this is going to increase the amount of views that you get, and it's going to allow you to double down on the topic that you were talking about. And on top of that, ideally, you should be posting 1 to 3 times a day, because here's the deal. A lot of people will go to the comment section right now and try to start the argument that they care more about quality over quantity of content. But here's the deal. You only get to creating quality content if you upload a large quantity of content. So you need to actually put in the work to get good at it. I mean, think about it. LeBron James, it's not his first time ever playing basketball when you see him play in the NBA. He's been practicing for years and years and years, and he's probably shot a basketball millions of times, if not tens of millions of times. So the plays that you see him making today have been an accumulation of all of that work that he's put in. And you need to think about social media the same exact way, because you're probably looking at your favorite creators right now, or competitors within your niche, thinking that you should be doing exactly what they're doing. And that's not necessarily the case, because you don't understand the work that they put in to be able to get to that point. For example, Mr. Beast has literally made thousands and thousands of videos for tens of years. So guess what? He's put in the work to get the quality of content that he's trying to create by putting in the quantity, and you need to do that same exact thing. Now, when it comes to the sounds that you're currently using, you need to make sure that you're adapting to the changes, because a Universal Music Group taking a lot of their popular artist sounds off of TikTok. So ideally what you should be doing is making sure that the sounds that you're using are available for use, because if they're not, then you definitely don't want to use them, because there's a little bit of a glitch right now on TikTok surrounding that. And on top of that, I would go through and I would actually do a search to try to determine what label the artist that you're going to be posting content for is on, so that you can make sure that it's not a Universal Music Group, because if it is, there is a potential that your video is going to get a copyright strike in the future. I know it's a little bit annoying, but it is something that I would try to avoid for the next 1 to 2 weeks, and it's going to help you grow quicker on TikTok. Now, for the final thing you need to make sure you're doing. And that is that you need to be spending 90% of your time in the first 3 seconds of your video if your video is less than 60 seconds long. If your video is greater than 60 seconds long, you need to be spending 90% of your time in the first 15 seconds. Because here's the deal. TikTok, unlike other social media apps, is just literally an endless scroll. So if you don't get people to stop scrolling, aka have a good hook, then guess what ends up happening? You are not going to get the views that you ultimately want to on TikTok, and it is solely going to come down to the first 3 seconds or the first 15 seconds. So you're putting so much effort into what happens in the middle of the video, what happens at the end of the video, and it doesn't even matter, because nobody's going to see it if they don't get through the beginning part of the video. So there are a few things that I strongly suggest that you do to adapt to this. 1, I would strongly suggest that you begin studying your competitors' videos that are on the same topics that you're going to be creating for, but you need to be looking at things a little bit differently than you're used to looking at them. The first thing I want you to pay attention to is the WPS, aka the words per second that they're speaking in the first 10 seconds of the video, because this is going to control the pacing of the video and what the viewer actually experiences. The second thing I want to make sure you're paying attention to are any sounds that they're using or any music that they're using, because if you're not using these things also, you might not be creating the emotional appeal that your competitors are creating, and then as a result, you're not getting the views that you want. In addition to that, I would strongly recommend that you create a video on TikTok and then you get rid of the first 3 seconds or the first 15 seconds and just create a new 3 seconds, a new 15 seconds, and then upload different versions of that video. And what that's going to allow you to see is how much the hook actually affects. For example, you could do one with or without music. You could do one with text on the screen or without text on the screen. And you could do one starting the video with a challenge versus not starting the video with a challenge. And what this is going to prove to you is that literally the video is completely completely the same, but only the hook is different, and it is going to give you a drastically different number of views, and this is really going to prove to you how much that first 3 to 15 seconds really matters depending on how long your piece of content is. And then the final thing that I would strongly recommend that you do is you need to make sure that you're collecting good hooks. Whether it be in your notes or you're screenshotting them, you need to make sure whenever you scroll through TikTok, you need to ask yourself, why am I watching this video and why am I getting served this video? And then you need to brainstorm 2 to 3 ways that you could do that for your niche or for a new topic that you're going to be creating. And this is going to make you way better at actually creating TikTok content, which is going to allow you to get monetized on TikTok sooner. At this point, the only reason you're not getting the growth that you want to on TikTok right now is simply because you're posting at the wrong time, which is exactly why I created this video right here that tells you the best time to post on TikTok in 2024 to maximize the amount of views that you're getting. I'll see you over there.